gamers? Welcome back to another episode of the Cuddlepunk podcast. My name is Veronica Vex, the dumbest girl alive. With me today, I saw these guys for the first time in 2018 at Great Scott, rest in peace, Great Scott, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I saw them open for Maxilin Retirement Party. These guys are probably one of my favorite rising bands right now. They have created their own entire genre of new pop. It's amazing. It's all the best stuff. You guys already know about them because they're constantly having antics on Twitter. Cheem is here. Everybody, Cheem, how are we doing today?
Hello. We're good. We're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Ready to rock, always.
Hell fucking yeah. So first thing I'm going to have you guys do is introduce the two of you and what do you guys do in the band?
I'm Sam, and I sing. One half of the front person of the band, Cheem.
And I'm Skye. I also sing and do a lot of rapping and sometimes play guitar.
I want to start off actually by talking about the Twitter antics, specifically the stuff that you guys have been going on with this week. You guys have something big coming up. Basically, the week this episode is going to be coming out. I've been seeing nothing on my timeline the last 24 hours, but every single person in DIY tweeting Cheem.net, 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 Cheem.net. Was there any how organic was that with everybody else starting to tweet that out, or was that something that you had told people to do?
That's a good question. So we do have a Discord. It's pretty active. We have a lot of friends on there, and so I told everyone on there to post just Cheem.net on Twitter, and then that kind of created a reaction where everyone's just started tweeting Cheem.net, and so it was partially planned, but then it just it exceeded expectations.
Yeah, we seeded it a little bit. We were like, all right, let's get the 10 or 15 people in here who will definitely post it, and then other people were just like, hey, this is a fun thing to do, and then it kind of grew into its own thing where the whole malware thing where you click the link and it gives you a virus and shit. Which we're willing to roll with anything that makes it funnier. So we were totally on board for that.
That part was not planned. It just kind of came with the domino effect.
Totally. You guys love teasing your audience and just messing with them. I remember when I saw you guys, I don't know how I remember this. I remember you started going into All-Star for a second and then switched it up and did Tum Thumping by Chumbawamba. Oh. That kind of stuff. I love that. That's my favorite shit, where somebody will immediately just start messing with their audience, even just live on stage. The humor seems to be a very important part for you guys. What drives that? And do you guys find it sometimes difficult to have the balance between we're trying to be semi taken seriously as musicians, but we also want to bring the funny?
Yeah, for sure. It's tough because the humor just comes from us as people. We're 5 friends in a band. Behind the scenes, we are joking constantly. So it just sort of comes out because when we get on stage, it's there's an aspect of it that is a performance, but there's a part of it that's just us playing music so naturally. We're just gonna be wouldn't it be funny if we did this, or let me say this and see if I can make the other 4 dudes on stage laugh, not even give a shit about what the audience thinks. But there's been times where people are oh yeah, I love Cheem. They're so funny, it's so funny how they play, and then they go to the music thing. It's wait. The music part is serious. We take our craft seriously, but the marketing stuff we have fun with. So it's tough to have serious intentions read the way you want them when people are used to you joking. So it is important to find a balance. But I think people just need to be, and a lot of people do understand this, but I think people need to be more open about hey, artists can be silly and joking at times, and then be taken seriously other times. I think there's plenty of pop stars and rappers who pretty much exemplify that, where they can tackle serious subject matter and be taken seriously, artistically speaking, but also have a lot of fun and fucking fuck around with their audience.
Yeah, I agree with that, Skye. And to kind of comment on that, I have a lot of friends that are really into heavy music, scrams and anything that's it's portrayed as the most serious music ever. And I've heard people we'll play shows with those bands, and it's we almost feel that us expressing our personality, which has some humor, it's a little lighthearted. There could be 2 reactions. One, it could be something that's refreshing to the listener that I've seen at the shows that we play, or 2, it's oh, this is the corniest thing I've ever seen. And yeah, I've seen both reactions, and I don't know.
Are you
I
telling
think
me that
I
metalheads don't
love
know how
that.
to have fun? I'm shocked and appalled.
Isn't that insane? Yeah, I think it's more so like kids that only listen to, like, scrams and
Right.
like post rock, and like only want to like sit there and like just like look at the crowd
Yeah,
like
honestly, I think metalheads are more accepting because a lot of metal is just very inherently silly, like throughout history. You know what I mean? Scrams, on
Would
the
you
other
tell
hand, it's
them
like,
that, please?
yeah.
yeah, maybe it varies from area to area, but I don't know. In Connecticut, metal is kind of fun. There's a band called Splatterhead from where we're at. That's like a clown metal band.
Hell
I
fucking
love that
yeah.
shit. It's awesome.
Uh
I think no, you go.
oh, sorry. This will be the last
Don't
comment
interrupt.
on
Like
that
there's
is
the no, stop that. This is your guy. This is a fucking interview. You guys are supposed to be talking.
thanks. Well, I was gonna say we're very influenced by metal, so I think that's why metalheads actually kind of fuck with us, because we take from a lot of the like a lot of our, I don't know, our intricacies are like coming from that genre. So we fit in very well, but it's like at some points we're like we're fucking with you, you know?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some rhythm stuff that's like prog. Like Meshuggah is like a huge influence for me as a songwriter personally. So there's a lot of like rhythmic stuff that, like, even though it's very melodic and like pop oriented, like if you really broke it down and played it like in like drop A and like a bunch of bends 0-1 and stuff like that, it would just sound like a Meshuggah riff.
That's fucking sick as hell. I think a lot of the like humor that comes from your guys, or at least you guys, despite how like intricate and like insane your music can be, a lot of times there's a very chill vibe that comes from you guys. And I know that comes from at least Skye. I remember seeing an interview where you talk about being really influenced by like bands like 311. When you rap, it honestly reminds me a lot of Shifty Shell Shock from Crazy Town. If you
Sick.
remember Butterfly.
Of course, that's a classic.
There's a YouTube video by a guy called Alpha Media that I really love where he explains the difference between white rappers and white guys who rap. I would qualify you very much as a white guy who raps, where like Macklemore is a white rapper, Mac Miller was a white guy who raps. If you get
That
what
is
I'm
high
talking
praise.
about.
I appreciate that. I know what you're saying too, and it's a lot of it is comes from, I think, drawing attention to the fact, like, if you have to like make a point like, yeah, I'm a white rapper, then it's like, yep, you're a white rapper. You're not just like a white guy who happens to also rap. Like, that's a big thing. It's just like, I feel like people can tell, and if people can tell that you just like have an appreciation and respect for hip hop and like a history of like listening to it and like practicing being a rapper behind the scenes. You don't have to worry about like presenting yourself in a certain way. Like, you'll have credibility from people who understand where you're coming from.
I think even a lot of stuff that you guys have, like, even if it's not like specifically rapping, you have that like polyrhythmic thing going on in your vocals where it like that rapid fire like triplet thing that will happen even in the stuff where it's just Skye singing. Who were both of your influences when it comes to vocals? Skye with rapping and singing, and Sam with singing.
Rap wise, I would say, as far as bringing rap to like rock music, like Mike Shinoda's the biggest one for that. But just rap music in general, I grew up being watched by my mom's cousin a lot, and she would love playing me like radio rap at the time that she knew my mom wouldn't want me to hear. So it was a lot of like 50 Cent, a lot of Nelly, and like a lot of R&B at the time too. Had like featured rappers on it, like Joe and Mystical, like doing a track together, like that kind of stuff. So there was always like oh, you can do the singing and the rapping in the same track. But as I got more into like rap, it was definitely Earl Sweatshirt was a big one. Wu-Tang was huge. Nas is huge. I really like Ice Cube. I like the NWA a lot, but like Ice Cube's solo shit is fucking really good. Other than that, as far as new rappers go, I was really big into Travis Scott for a while. And then the Astro World thing happened. It's like, it's
And then
kind
he
of not
sent
cool
9
to
people
like
to
Travis
Astro
Scott
World,
anymore.
as Schlatt once put it.
Yeah, exactly. But that whole like that movement there with like Yachty and Uzi and all that stuff, I was big into that. Like a lot of melodic inspiration came from that for a while, where it was like people using that like triplet flow or like a more rap oriented flow, and it was totally auto tuned, very melodic, very pop oriented. So trying to bring that into rock music was a thing, because I like I said with Mike Shinoda or like Limp Bizkit or Slipknot, when they rap, they're from a different era, so that rap music is like 90s influenced. But trying to bring like trap and like or like what people would call, I guess, like mumble rap into rock music, I think was is has less of a precedent, I guess, and that's more so what I'm trying to do is just represent different styles and all the different types of shit I listen to. What about you, Sam?
I feel like my influences are like always something that I'm proud to like display. And sometimes I'm not as proud to display. And the first one that comes to my mind.
I was telling Skye earlier that I saw the interview with all 5 of you guys out in like a field somewhere or whatever, and I saw you talking about being compared to Brendan Urie. That's one I would imagine is like it flip flops between proud and not so proud to talk
Oh
about.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the first CD I ever picked up as a kid was A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. I listened to that record like religiously when I was like 13, 14. And like there was definitely a few years where I'm like, no, not Panic. Like Brandon Urie's like awful, cringe. But I don't know. The older I get, the more I've come to terms with like this band has really like shaped my sound, because I would sing all the Panic songs in the shower like before school every morning. It's just comes out. But other than Brandon Urie, I would also say Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean's a huge influence of mine, specifically Channel Orange. I would even go and say like Justin Timberlake, with all the stuff with NSYNC, and then Justified and 2020 Experience is a big record for me. I love him as a vocalist. And then Brandon Boyd from Incubus is a big influence for me. They're probably one of my favorite bands ever, and I just love how one thing that like Brandon Boyd that I like is like his like kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's not like an ooh or ah, but he does like a like, I think I do that a lot in music, and it definitely stems from like my love for Incubus.
It's like the Swancore vocal type thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I did like some Swancore when I was younger, but I really only started to appreciate a lot of Swancore musicians like later, like more recently, except for that band Eichels and Glaciers, which had like there was like that super group of all the Swancore peeps. Like I know Johnny Craig's in it.
I forgot about that bit. That was a good fucking project.
I actually love that one EP or album. I forget what it is, how long it was, but that I used to follow a lot of the Fearless Records bands. I think that was on it. I think it was on that. I can't recall. I don't remember how I exactly got it. And yeah, that little release, like I liked it more than Pierce the Veil. I liked it more than DGD, which is so funny because everyone's like, oh, DGD is the band. I'm like, oh wait, Johnny Craig from Eichels and Glaciers.
I don't think I've done a single episode of this show where Johnny Craig hasn't come up, and I don't know how to feel about that.
Like,
I know he's like,
fuck that guy, but oh my god, what a voice!
What a voice is
I know,
the
it's
problem
insane
about him.
Yeah, that's why they keep giving him second chances.
I know.
And
I love that you, Skye, brought up Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park and like Slipknot and stuff, because one of my things that I fucking love about you guys and why I think that new pop is such a good term for y'all is that you brought the fucking early nu metal turntables into your shit. You brought the record scratches in, and nobody does that shit anymore. Who is in charge of like the record scratch and like the like more electronic-y sides of everything?
That's me.
That's
I
Skye.
very much served the Mike Shinoda role with like because he was kind of also like a producer for Linkin Park. He would do a lot of the production work, but record scratching, yeah, it was something I always wanted to pick up, and I bought like a used like DDJ 200 or whatever it's called, like a small little controller from Reverb, and just started teaching myself how to do it. And I would just play beat tapes and like try to figure out how to scratch, and I would source my own samples and shit. And it was one of those things where like I was like, listen, if I'm gonna rap on this stuff, like we can have turntables. It's got that kind of groove, and I've always loved the sound of it. You know, like just there used to be a time where you couldn't hear a rap record without hearing turntables on it. So it was like I would feel like it's very easy to bake into any kind of groovy sound. And now there's been a couple times, I think only one or two of the collaborations have been released, but after people find out that I do the record scratching on Cheem shit, they'll hit me up and be like, hey, can you scratch on like this? And I'll be like, yeah, of course, I'll scratch on fucking anything. Like, because once like you're the dude who can do that, it's like I guess it's just not a very like widespread skill anymore. And to be fair, it's very antithetical to like guitar playing. Like you'd
Yeah.
think it'd be the same because it's like one hand moves the record and the other hand like uses the fader, but like I really had to like learn it from the ground up. I thought I could like pick it up and just do it because I play guitar, but it's so different.
Tom Morello figured out how to do the DJ scratch on guitar thing in like 1992.
That's true. It's I love fucking Rage Against the Machine. That's another huge influence songwriting wise. Like there's so many. I feel like it doesn't get cited in terms of like newer new metal influenced bands, but like fucking I love Rage Against the Machine. I've
People
ripped them
don't
off
even
a couple times.
consider Rage Against the Machine as a new metal band for the most part, which they absolutely are.
I would
say
personally,
they are, yeah.
I say they are. I know there's some controversy surrounding that, but like I think they are.
Yeah,
And I think the
They're
people
not
who
around
want to
to
not call them
get mad about it anymore.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the problem is that people think new metal is like inherently a cringe term. And they don't want that like tacked on to Rage Against the Machine, who are like not a cringe band. But what are you gonna do? I think it's an applicable genre for them.
I think so as well. I had a couple of friends see you guys at Fauxchella this year. I want to talk about Fauxchella because it's kind of something I haven't seen in a while, where it really is this just like it feels like a music festival version of DashCon, where like all of these like different internet people are all coming together. What's the vibe at Fauxchella like?
It's like DIY Mecca. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's so many people that came up to me. They're like, I follow you on Twitter. I'm like, oh, I can't tell because you have like an anime photo as your face. So that's
your
cool.
name is like it's like Squelchy Bog Rot or something. And I like you're like, hey, I'm Kyle. It's like that means
What?
nothing to me. Tell me your handle. Yeah, no, it's just a good time though. It's cool because there's plenty of bands that we've crossed paths with on tour. And like we live far away from one another, so we don't get to see each other. But then everybody comes together for Coachella, so you get to see all your old friends. It's a good time, and it's like 3 days, and all 3 days are sold out. It's fucking crazy. So many people.
Yeah, and
very easy to get sick.
No shade to Fest. We played that in 2022, and it was really fun. But I felt like Fauxchella was more connected to a lot of the bands within the scene that we've been kind of developing in. Whereas Fest is like it's half that, and then like half like super like macho like early 2000s like I don't know, punk like real punk. And
Fest is where
it's
Riot
like a
Fest
mixture.
and Fauxchella meet.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like crusty punks and kids on Twitter meet together, and like it's actually it's very fun. It's a very strange combo. It's really fun, and I hope we play again. But I liked Fauxchella because it was like it felt way more connected to us. And I mean, Fauxchella is definitely one of the best shows we've ever played. It was we had such a crazy time.
And somebody did the worm in the pit while we were playing, and that's always just a highlight. If anybody can do the worm, they bust it out.
We're talking about the DIY scene for a second. We all love like the DIY scene as like a concept and everything. We all have our beefs with it, and where I think that really comes across with you guys is on a song like Pay to Play, where you're talking about it's kind of the way I describe it, it's kind of like y'all's Middle Child by J. Cole, where you're talking about like kind of being like on like the top-ish of like DIY scene while also like still like being very much like a DIY kind of band that isn't like on huge tours or anything like that, and the frustrations with both sides of that kind of thing. If you guys wouldn't mind going into those just a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. That's a good reference. Basically, it's kind of like the DIY scene should, in essence, like in theory, I guess, be like an antithesis to like the mainstream music industry, right? Like it should be something different. It should be DIY. It should be like run and operated in a way that like serves the artists and the fans better. And a lot of times people are just recreating the mainstream music scene on a smaller scale. It's just these little microcosms of like the same exact bullshit you'd be running into if you were on like a major label or getting played on the radio or playing festivals or bigger tours. And I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, well, if we're not going to be making any fucking money doing this shit, like we shouldn't have to deal with the same shit that people who are fucking millionaires deal with, right? Like, but who knows? I don't know. It's just and it's also frustrating how like in that same way, people who pay to or people who have more resources and more money and therefore more time excel in the mainstream music industry, the same is true of the DIY scene, because it's like people can just go on 9-month long tours because they don't have to worry about having a job or paying rent or whatever. You know, again, it's pretty petty, but it's a frustration that I think a lot of people can relate to. And it was just, you know, it was the time and place to vent it. And then, well, we got Bobby Woody on that song too, and he came in with a whole verse about like
that I need to talk to. He's fucking that verse is insane.
I love that he killed it, and it's cool because he's coming from just like the underground hip hop scene, so he's given another perspective on it, where it's strikingly similar to what you deal with in like indie or alternative music. It's just you know, mostly solo performers instead of groups, but you're dealing with the same fucking bullshit. Even actually, it's kind of even worse in hip hop, because a lot of times they still do the same, like literally pay to play shows where you have to sell a certain amount of tickets or pay the promoter that like you used to get stuck with back in like, you know, if you were in middle school playing in a pop punk band and some fucking shady dude with an email reached out and was like, I can get you on a show at this venue, but you just have to pay for the tickets. It's like that shit still happens in underground hip hop all the time, even though mostly for the most part in the DIY alternative scene, it's been like sussed out completely.
Yeah.
I had to look him up. When I was looking him up, I was like not super surprised that he was from Baltimore, but it was only mostly surprising because like there ain't no way he's from fucking New England. We don't have shit like that up here. That's something that Boston hip hop is very limited. I feel like in a way we've got like Gangstar and fucking Marky Mark, and that's like about it.
Marky Mark, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, yeah, New York is really that's where it's at. Like I feel like all the best hip hop comes out of A, the East Coast, but B, like specifically New York, except us.
Except you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty Pleasure, your album from 2022, the deluxe version was released last year. It's fucking incredible. You all need to listen to it right now after listening to this. It was produced by Chris Crummett, who's done stuff for like Sleeping with Sirens and a ton of other bands. What's it like working with a producer who's like kind of on that level at that point? Is it any different from like, I know you guys self-produced it and then he like mastered everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty with Chris, it's pretty informal. Like he just, if you have his contact, you just reach out to him. It's like, hey, can you master these songs? And he goes, sure, I'll get it done by this time. And then he sends it back and you get like, you know, you get one chance to be like, hey, could you like change this or that? And then he'll do it. He's very professional. He's very quick. He's very responsive. Love work with him. Have had no issues with it. Doesn't really affect the songwriting process at all. It's just one of those things where it's nice to have a working relationship with him, because the mastering end of stuff used to be something we would kind of have to worry about. But now that we have a go-to guy, we can just like get the mix where it needs to be and trust that it's going to get the polish and extra level of like streaming level class it needs after he's done with it, that we can just put it on, you know, put it out and be happy with it.
It's always guaranteed to match like anything else that you listen to before and after Cheem, which is something that's important to us.
Yeah, we want everything to be on a fucking good level of quality. We really strive for like high quality shit, and especially this next release, I think people are gonna notice that. We tried with Guilty Pleasure, and it took us years to like get it right. And even then, people would listen to it and be like, "Oh yeah, I love like lo-fi stuff." And it's like, God damn it! Like we tried so hard. But this one sounds professional. I'm fucking sure of it. So
yeah.
And Chris is a part of that. The mastering work he's doing sounds great.
I interviewed Belushi Speedball a couple years ago, and when I was talking with them, I was talking about how one of the dudes who used to be in Guar produced their album and like mastered their shit for them. It seems like a lot of these like kind of like scene-ish producers, like obviously you're not gonna get like a Butch Vig or something like that, but like it seems like there's a lot of these like producers that have like very big names and they're fairly easy to come into contact with. What was it for you guys that got your way in having the contact of Chris? And is it that easy with like certain producers who have like bigger names, or is it them like putting themselves out there and wanting to work with a ton of people, or is it just like you guys hunting as much as you can?
That's a good question, and I can elaborate. And I have to give credit to Tyler from my other band, Five Ever. He is like very much more connected to the Swancore world than I am, and he said that Chris was like the go-to person for mastering work. So Five Ever's first EP was mastered by Chris Crummett, and like I loved it. I was like, this sounds fucking perfect. Why don't I bring it to Cheem? And all we did was just use the same email address that my other band used. I said, hey, I'm in this band. You did our work for us. Can you do this one? And it was just flawless.
I was gonna say if you wanted him to like actually produce your record the same way he did for like Dance Gavin Dance or whatever, I think that would probably be a less like casual interaction. But if you have the means to get in touch, like I'd say ask him. He seems like he's pretty hungry for work, and he has a really huge catalog, and he's expanding it all the time. And he loves all different kinds of shit. So
and he's very good at giving you a good turnaround for it, as long as you obviously pay him as well. It's very, very easy to work with him.
We love finding people who are easy to work with. New Englanders cannot always be the easiest to work with. When we come back, Cheem is going to be going through the New England Music Trivia Gauntlet that I've got for myself. We will be right back with more of the Cuddlepunk Podcast. Welcome back to the Cuddlepunk Podcast. I am here with Sam and Skye from Cheem. All three of us here are not so proud New Englanders. Proud is a fun term when it comes to that part of the region, but as much as I believe that we are underrepresented when it comes to music and music history, I was able to find 10 fun questions for these fine individuals right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to send Sam and Skye. There's not going to be a competition here. It's both of you guys against the questions. We're going to be going through 10 questions about New England music history, music trivia type stuff. It's just going to be a fun time. Are we ready to get into the questions?
Let's do it.
We're going to start off with someone that's a little bit difficult. I won't lie to you. So in 1994, there was a free Green Day show that had to be shut down halfway through when the crowd got too massive. In response, the fans started throwing bottles of the soft drink that was sponsoring the concert at the stage at the Fauxchella in Boston. What drink sponsored the event? I want you guys to think about what drink would cause the most what soft drink would cause the most damage when they're throwing it.
Mountain Dew. Or I mean, you can say classic Coke.
I don't think it was Coke. Yeah, it's probably a lemon lime deal. I for some reason I wanted to say 7-Up, but that doesn't feel right. Let's go Mountain Dew. Fuck it. We're not gonna get a better guess than that.
Yeah. Mountain Dew.
You guys are thinking of the more dangerous drink. You're not thinking of the more dangerous container. It was Snapple, my dear boys. It was Snapple that they were throwing at the Fauxchella, which glass caused much more damage than plastic. Yes.
Oh, where was the Fauxchella? Was it in Boston?
It's in
was
Boston.
It in
it's on the Esplanade in Boston. It's that like big like half amphitheater thing where they have the 4th of July every year.
Okay, got it.
It was made famous in Ted when Norah Jones and Mark Wahlberg sang to Mila Kunis.
Oh my God.
Next question. Which hard rock lead singer from the New England area was revealed last year to have dated Lady Gaga early in her career?
What the heck? From Massachusetts?
From New England area. Just guess butt rock bands, lead singers in the Massachusetts area.
Can I say the lead singer of Stained?
Aaron Lewis. Is Aaron Lewis from like Massachusetts?
He's from Vermont, yeah. Doesn't it suck?
I mean, fuck it, go with it. I say go.
You guys are so fucking close. It was Sully Erna from Godsmack.
Oh! And I have the Godsmack jersey.
I have the first running away moment of my podcast. This is perfect. Thank you, Sam. That's going on TikTok for sure.
Oh!
All right. This one's more Connecticut based, so I feel like you guys know about this just from like growing up. What band started the station nightclub fire of 2003?
Fucking shit.
Ocean Animals, Sam. You're going with Ocean Animals.
Great Wharf.
Ocean Animals.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh God. It's like Great Wharf. It's I know that they're
I'm gonna give
rock.
it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. It was Great White.
Great White. That band sucks.
They do suck.
I would say they were not mindful of the space that they're performing in, like with all their hieroglyphics, like all their lighting, all everything. Like, it just made no sense. It's like I don't know. I think the band was responsible for not understanding how unsafe their setup was in a venue that wasn't made for it.
Don't do pyrotechnics in a 200-person room.
Yeah,
Do
that's
not
like
do
in a building
pyrotechnics
that's
in a 200-person room.
almost 100 years old at the moment that it happened. It was like not made for that. And like obviously the venue was at fault because it was the room that didn't pass the safety checks constantly. But it was like, come on, Great White.
Next question that we've got. Which new kid on the block appeared in Saw 2 and 4 as Detective Eric Matthews?
Was it Mark Wahlberg's brother?
Yes, it was. It was Donnie Wahlberg.
Donnie, fuck Donnie. I hate Donnie.
All my homies hate Donnie.
my friends from Dorchester and like his mom hates Donnie Wahlberg.
And then Donnie Wahlberg's got more famous and his brother got more famous and had a rap career and did movies and nothing else. Mark Wahlberg never did anything else.
Okay, but his really terrible restaurant, that stuff sucked.
Wahlburgers fucking sucks. I'm tired of that being our representation. Wahlburgers is a bad fucking burger joint.
The one at the Trumbull Mall, Skye, closed so quickly.
Because it was ass. It was always ass. It closed quickly because nobody wanted to fucking eat there. It was expensive and they had a whole good food court downstairs. To be fair, that food court sucks now, but you know, what are you gonna do?
They have one in Chicago and it gets like way better business because it's tourist shit. It's like built into, it's a Chuck E. Cheese basically. It just happens to be about the Wahlbergs.
Groaning. I don't know if anyone else has groaned this much in your interview, but yeah.
I'm gonna go back and check on that. Actually, that's a great point. Which rapper is the estranged daughter of the Source magazine founder Benzino?
Well, so the rapper is the daughter
of Benzino from Boston, who founded Source magazine, and they do not get along. They hate each other. I think she dated Trippie Redd for a while.
From Boston. Whoa, that's crazy. I actually don't know. I'm gonna throw a wild guess. Can I say? Because I don't know who has dated Trippie Redd. Can I say Megan Thee Stallion?
I don't. Let's just go for it. Let's just fucking go for it. There's another rapper's name I'm trying to remember, but let's just go for Megan Thee Stallion. I think it'd be funny if it was that.
I think it would be very funny if Megan Thee Stallion dated Trippie Redd, but I don't believe that's happened. That was Coi Leray.
Oh,
she was the one where it was very funny to go to her shows and do nothing in the crowd. If you remember that trend.
I remember that.
Oh yeah.
There was like a big moment on this was like the Playboy Cardi subreddit where somebody thought the kid Leroy was Coi Leray and was talking about wanting to fuck the kid Leroy. Everybody was like, yo, what? He's like, sorry, thought it was Coi Leray. My bad.
That's certainly the first mention of the Playboy Cardi subreddit on this fucking YouTube channel. What band holds the record for the most sold out shows at Fenway Park?
Oh, Dropkick Murphys. Or Aerosmith. Oh, try to look at your face for this one.
What are the odds
Dave
of
Matthews
coming out? You think Dave Matthews?
Dave Matthews is closer, I would say.
Oh my god. I feel like I should know this.
You think it's like shit like that?
I've seen this band at Fenway for the record. I will say that.
I can't believe it's not the four bands I said.
We're gonna take it away from you. It's Zac Brown Band.
That's insane.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I will say I have seen Zac Brown Band at Fenway Park. Fenway audio is notoriously terrible. It was awesome that night, and those motherfuckers can play their shit. I'm a relatively recent country convert. Those motherfuckers can play their goddamn asses off. Who played their first stadium show ever at Gillette Stadium? She's the most famous person in the world.
Taylor Swift.
There we go, baby.
Yeah.
I think I was there. Was it on the Red Tour?
Yes, it was on the Red Tour. What the fuck? You were at that show?
I was at that show. Yeah, with my ex.
She wrote an entire fucking song about that show, dude.
I was literally there with and then Ed Sheeran and Austin Mahone opened. They were all there. It was fine. It was a fine show. It was we had bad seats. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I'm in part of the Taylor Swift lore.
It would appear so. This one's a diss for me personally, just because I think this is so fucking weird. Which Boston area rapper appeared in 2015's Patriots Day as the roommate of one of the Boston Marathon bombers?
What the fuck? I've never seen Pizza Day, but that is a wild casting decision.
It's
Fucking
just a
wild.
question that I had to ask because it's the funniest fucking thing. I know this dude personally too, so like it's the funniest fucking thing in the world to me.
Oh, is it like a Massachusetts rapper?
Yeah.
Sammy Adams.
Well, all
Baby,
sorts
you've
of
been
blasphemy
driving me
attested to.
crazy.
Sammy Adams, that would be certainly a performance. That was going to be Token. If you guys
Oh,
know Token.
no, I don't actually.
He is he's been on Sway in the Morning a couple of times. He's one of those like he's the best of the white rappers who rap fast because Eminem did it.
That is a whole genre. So
It's an
I'll have to check.
entire genre.
The only one I think of is Watsky.
Watsky is from here, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
Speaking of rapping too fucking fast, I love him. I've met him before. He's great, but that Jesus Christ. I met him at Warp Tour in 2017.
He played that. What the fuck happened to Warped
2017
Tour
was
in
a
the
fucking weird ass Warp Tour, dude. It was like
Yeah.
that was like Neck Deep and Dance Gavin Dance and Andy Biersack's like side project, Andy Black. Fucking Creeper was there, Trophy Eyes was there, Boston Manor. I think Knocked Loose was there actually off of the first album. Not the first album, but like the first album to break.
Damn.
We got 2 questions left, boys. All
You're
right.
throwing some curveballs.
I attempted to. Again, I was telling Sam earlier, if it's not like if the questions don't like work, it's just about people learning shit. It's fine.
I'm
All right.
definitely learning shit.
Name 2 of the 3 other names that the Xfinity Center in Mansfield has gone by.
Oh my god. Comcast Center.
That's 1.
Fucking something Woods. Bretton Woods.
It was
Was
Great
it that?
Woods, but we'll give it to you.
Great Woods.
You got.
Thank
We'll
you.
say that you got the 2. Now, my whole thing with my parents, every time that we went to a show at Xfinity Center, they'd always say that they were going to Great Woods. They're also the same people who will like still call TD Garden the Fleet Center.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard about Great Woods was when my parents wanted to go see what's his name? I'm so sorry. His name, Wasting Away Again, Margaritaville.
Jimmy Buffett, baby.
Jimmy Buffett, yeah.
I was
Rest in
raised on that
peace.
man's music, my guy.
Same. Oh, I mean that's such a Massachusetts thing. Like
New
that
England
is.
parrot heads are a very specific group of people, and it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And like every single pool party I went to is like all Jimmy Buffett, and they all went, and they all like. I remember like the first time
It's
I
just
ever
a
saw
group
like
of
a naked
people who
woman.
dream of beaches that aren't made of rocks.
Yes, yes. Like no one wants to go to Horseneck Beach. Like get all the
Nobody.
mayflies. Or I'm sorry, what's the bug that like bites
Horseflies.
that are always at the water? Horse flies. We hate them horse flies. We're sitting on rocks at Horseneck Beach. Fuck Horseneck Beach. All my homies hate Horseneck Beach.
If any of you have the misfortune of having to go north when you exit Logan Airport and go into more northern Massachusetts, I suggest that you all bring nose plugs for when you go by Lynn Beach, because it will happen and you will have the worst time of your life.
See, you're speaking to a South Shore
Gotcha.
kid, so I mean, like, I think North Shore has really good roast beef sandwiches.
That's true. We got Kelly's up here.
Yes. Oh, there's a Kelly's at the Jordans in Natick. My
Hell
parents
fucking yeah.
My parents, sorry for the more New England lore. My parents met through Jordan's Furniture. My dad hired my mom at the Jordans in Avon, and that's why I exist.
That right there is why we're doing this segment. Fuck yeah. All right. We got one last question for you guys. What SoCal punk band leader was mentioned as being from Newton, Massachusetts in the Dropkick Murphys song Going Out in Style?
But he's actually from SoCal.
He was raised in Newton, Massachusetts, then moved to Southern California, and then started a massive Southern California punk band. Probably one of the biggest pop punk bands of all time.
What the hell? This is gonna surprise me, I think. And isn't a Dropkick Murphy song?
It was mentioned in a Dropkick Murphy song.
Which
biggest
release?
pop punk bands of all time.
One of
What is
the
that, like-
biggest, like they wouldn't be considered pop punk now, but when they started, they were absolutely pop punk.
Oh, are we talking about like Tim Armstrong from Rancid or no?
That kind of
That
thing,
era?
yes.
Yeah, because I was gonna say Rancid.
era,
People
definitely.
would call them punk now, but they probably would have been called pop punk at the time. I don't know this one. The only SoCal pop punk bands I could think of are like Rancid, Green Day, and like Blink-182.
The answer is no. It's Fat Mike. Fat Mike is
Oh,
from Newton,
from NoFX.
Massachusetts. From NoFX.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, he's from Newton. In the video, he's like shitting on. He's just like taking a shit while the Murphys are like tearing up a bar, which is probably where Fat Mike belongs. Honestly, folks. Cheem has been one of my favorite guests that I've had on this show. It's been a lovely fucking conversation. Where can we find you guys?
You can find us online. We're everywhere. At Cheem.net.
Yeah, you can find us at Cheem.net, the website for all your Cheem news and Cheem exclusives. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Cheem.season, or Twitter, it's Cheem_season. And if we are able to, we'll be on tour at some point. So wherever you live, we'll try to come through and play a show. We want to play everywhere. 2024 is our year. We'll make it out to the West Coast. We'll make it out to the country. We'll see what happens.
We'll make sure you guys get out to the Midwest this year. We'll make sure you guys get out to Chicago again this year.
For sure.
You can find me, Veronica Vexed, on Twitter at Veronica_Vexed. You can find me on Instagram at Veronica_Vexed. You can find me on TikTok at Veronica_Vexed. You can find all episodes of the Cuddlepunk podcast, both on the YouTube channel, the Cuddlepunk podcast, or on Spotify and Apple Music. Please make sure to go ahead and go on over, if you like this video, to the Cuddlepunk podcast Patreon. We got a bunch of cool stuff on over there for just $3 or $5 a month. If you like this episode, if you could please like, if you could please comment, and if you could please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Our logo is done by Lauren Young. You can find her Instagram in the description. Our theme song is Lose a Turn by Modify. You can find her link down in the description below as well. Cheem, thank you guys so much for being on this episode of the podcast. It was great having you guys.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.